thanks for joining us. Good evening, I am Ansmane Sonyasi, and this is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. Here are the main news headlines. President Barrow on Wednesday presided over the swearing-in of new justices as High Court judges, Permanent Secretary and a member of the National Human Rights Commission. The government has commissioned an 8-member task force to investigate the recent rise in fuel and commodity prices and the implications of the Russia-Ukraine war on our economy. The Gambia Revenue Authority on Wednesday launched the Taxpayers Charter under the GRA Strategic Plan 2022 to 2024 to deliver quality services to taxpayers. And the network of African human rights institutions and its partners across Africa are on a 2-day forum to discuss human rights related problems in the business sector and to develop and adopt a resolution addressing them. Stay tuned as we bring you more on these and other stories. And we now take a look at the news in detail. President Barrow on Wednesday presided over the swearing-in of new justices Sirif B. Tabali, Sidi K. Jobate, and Aissatou Jane as High Court judges. As Alusisi reports, Mariam Njai, Permanent Secretary at the President's Office, and Halimatu Diba, a member of the National Human Rights Commission, were also sworn in.
The elevation and subsequent appointment of Justices Sirif B. Tabali, Sidi K. Jobate, and Aissatou Jane as judges of the High Court by the President follows the recommendation of the Judicial Service Commission. All three have extensive experience serving the country's judiciary at the magistrate courts. Their elevation is expected to add diversity and value to the work of the High Court. In the same vein, acting on the recommendations of the Public Service Commission and the National Human Rights Commission, the President also accepted the appointment of Mariam Njai as Permanent Secretary with the Office of the President and Halimatu Diba, a member of the National Human Rights Commission. As required by law, they must take the prescribed oath of office before assuming office. On behalf of the newly sworn-in officials, Justice Sidi K. Jobate said they are grateful for the opportunity and privilege to serve their country in various capacities.
We are grateful for the confidence you have expressed in us, and we pledge to discharge our duties to the very best of our ability and in accordance with our oath of office.
Justice Hassan B. Jallow, Chief Justice of the Gambia, believes the appointments will add value to the work of the High Court. He describes Justices Tabali, Jobate, and Jane as dedicated judiciary officials.
The appointments are very well deserved. The appointments come after many years of service as judicial officers on the part of all three of them in the subordinate courts, and also come after a very rigorous process, really, of evaluation of many candidates, because we are concerned not only about Gambianization, but also to ensure that it is not at the expense of quality.
For President Barrow, while congratulating the new appointees on their meritorious appointments, encouraged them to continue to serve with honesty for the betterment of the country. He renewed his government's commitment to consolidate a more independent, trusted, and efficient judiciary, and as well a country where the respect for the rule of law and human rights are guaranteed.
My government is determined to follow through all the institutional reforms in progress. To succeed, we must engage professionals with the right technical competence and commitment to lead our ministries and departments. In addition, such persons have to focus on the national interests as a priority over all other interests. Furthermore, it is essential that all sectors comply with the government's policy directions, follow proper procedures and processes, and duly make themselves accountable to the people.
The Gambian leader used the occasion to call on public officials in government institutions to be more professional and dedicated to work to meet the expected outcomes.
Government is determined to remunerate and motivate all civil servants better by introducing a new pay grading and pension scheme. In this light, I tax all permanent secretaries and their staff to redouble their efforts. I have a high regard for the civil service work, ethics, and fight corruption. In general terms, I advise all public servants to work towards restoring confidence in government, institutions, and respect for the civil service.
As they assume their new roles, These officials will be judged based on their actions and performance of duty in line with the oaths they have taken. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
The government has commissioned an 8-member task force to investigate the recent rise in fuel and commodity prices and the implications of the Russia-Ukraine war on our economy. Mamadou Gajaga tells us more.
The task force, which is expected to present a report in 2 weeks, consists of members from the Ministry of Finance, Accountant General Department, Gambia Revenue Authority, Gambia Public Procurement Authority, Central Bank of the Gambia, Ministry of Trade, Gambia Investment and Export Promotion Agency, and Ministry of Agriculture. The team is assigned to develop a diagnostic analysis of the current situation of the economy and make recommendations to improve the living condition of the people. The government has also introduced cost-cutting measures to minimize the impact of current global economic uncertainties. The Secretary General and Head of Civil Service has informed all ministries, departments and agencies of immediate measures to mitigate the impact of what it calls the current global economic challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and the Ukraine war. These have resulted in a reduction in economic activity, revenue generation, and the surge in the price of fuel and other commodities. The government has taken measures by reducing spending on overseas travel, fuel and lubricants, and telecommunication allowances. In doing so, government has suspended overseas travel except for statutory meetings of the UN, ECOWAS, AU, World Bank, IMF, AFDB, ISDB, or where the organizers will fully pay the cost of participation in such overseas events. The measures also include paying half per diem for the missions where the government will provide accommodation. Although per diems have some benefits, some employees often view them as a way to supplement their salaries, which can lead to people attending unnecessary meetings and workshops to collect per diems. In telecommunications, government provision of post-paid mobile telephones for public officials will be limited to senior officials and relevant security functionaries with limits. The government has reduced all monthly fuel allocation to eligible officials by 20%, stressing that ministries, departments and agencies must keep expenditure on fuel and lubricants to a minimum. The move reflects the economic risk and government see in the current energy spike, which has been driven by a rebound in fuel demand since the darkest days of the coronavirus pandemic and the supply disruptions in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. These measures, according to government, will be placed and will be reviewed, pending improvements in the economy. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
Important news there. Now, the Gambia Revenue Authority on Wednesday launched the Taxpayers Charter under the GRA Strategic Plan 2022 to 2024 to deliver quality services to taxpayers and other stakeholders and mobilize revenue to support the government's development plans. Loliam Kamara tells us more.
The launching of the Taxpayers Charter was attended by key stakeholders and relevant partners of the Gambia Revenue Authority. Yankuba Dabo, the Commissioner General of GRA, says taxation is the largest source of government's revenue, which plays a crucial role in financing programs such as education, health, social protection, and infrastructure development, amongst others. He adds that the Charter explains the rights and obligations of taxpayers as provided in the revenue laws. Dabo assured the taxpayers that GRA is committed to educate, sensitize, and engage them on their processes and reforms.
The launching of this Taxpayers Charter, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, will make GRA's service more transparent and accountable to the public, whilst at the same time outline the roles and responsibilities of taxpayers. The Charter outlines important benefits for taxpayers. Namely, first, this Charter explained the rights and obligations of a taxpayer as provided in the revenue laws with a view to promote the cordial relationship between GRA and its taxpayers.
Mamburenjai, the Minister of Finance and Economic Affairs, commended the GRA for launching the Taxpayers Charter, which he says outlines the obligations and rights of the taxpayers.
A significant component of our development is funded by tax revenue, and therefore enlightening taxpayers on their rights and obligations is the right path to economic empowerment and sustainable development. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I therefore take this opportunity to thank the Gambian taxpayers, especially the private sector, for your unflinching support towards domestic revenue mobilization.
Issa Jallo, the Deputy Commissioner General and Head of Domestic Taxes at the GRA, stated that the Taxpayers Charter is part of the GRA's reform initiatives, which aims at delivering of quality taxpayer services and promoting taxpayer compliance.
We as GRA cannot be what our vision of to be a leading revenue administration, recognized for excellence in revenue mobilization and service delivery, without a taxpayer charter making a clear and precise expression of this intention in no uncertain terms. The same argument goes for our current corporate mission statement, which reads, to optimize revenue collection for the government by promoting compliance with the revenue laws and leveraging on ICT.
The Taxpayers Charter also explains, amongst other things, the obligations and the rights of taxpayers, including registration, timely filing of tax returns, time payment of taxes and duties, and taxpayers' rights, which includes objections of tax assessments, respecting confidentiality and privacy of taxpayers, access to information. At the end of the event, the Taxpayers Charter was shared among stakeholders for a better understanding of the Charter. For QTV News, Lolly M. Camara.
That report there by Lolly M. Camara will lead us to a short commercial break, but the news continues when we return.
Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and RIA just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from RIA directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Your favorite QCell service has gotten bigger. eFunkanta. Now you can loan bigger credit amounts to make life easier for you. Loan $75 and $100 and pay later. Yes, you heard me right. Get credit loan from $10 to $100 using eFunkanta by dialing *393#. Anytime you run out of credit, whether you want to buy QPower, browse the internet, make urgent calls, or send SMS. eFunkanta is the service for you. Dial *393# and choose the loan amount of your choice with no hassle. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sunyabus, the pioneers of mobile loan service in the Gambia. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back from a short commercial break. Be reminded you're watching QTV News and we're coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue. I am Ansmane Sonyasi. Now, the network of African human rights institutions and its partners across the African continent are on a two-day forum to discuss human rights related problems in the business sector and to develop and adopt a resolution addressing them. The plan is to share the resolution with the continent's Human Rights Commission for consideration during its 71st ordinary session. Mwalamin Choi reports.
This is the 4th National Human Rights Forum, hosting more than 80 participants, 30 of whom attend virtually. The forum's theme is integrating a protect and remedy approach to business and human rights in Africa as a lever towards the acceleration of human, social, and economic capital development. The two-day forum gives participants the opportunity to identify and discuss violations of human rights emerging from businesses. Gilbert Sebihogo is the Executive Director of the Network of African National Human Rights Institutions.
So those are the few issues. Of course, all these companies working in the sector of business human rights, they do violate not only some provisions of the African Charter on Human People's Rights, as well as constitutions of some countries which provide the rights in the business sector.
The discussions highlight growing concerns on labor, environmental and other forms of business and human rights violations in Africa. A recent study by the Network of National Human Rights Institutions in 40 African countries established that despite human rights violations in labor and environmental being rampant, states are making little to no effort in addressing them. Emmanuel Daniel Diouf is the chair of the Gambia's National Human Rights Commission.
Coming closer to home, as you know now, we have fish meal factories here. We have our oceans, which is overfished. We had incident in 2018, the Farababanta Commission, because of mining, sand mining. So these are issues that impact on our daily lives, businesses. But these are issues also that we usually do not talk about. And this forum is going to address these issues. But the ultimate aim is for each of these countries to have a national action plan on business and human rights. But you need to have the process, the dialogue needs to start so that we can have this group of experts to look at these issues.
The National Human Rights Institutions Forum expects to develop and adopt a joint resolution on the thematic area to share with the African Commission on Human and People's Rights, ACHPR, for consideration during its 71st session, which is scheduled to commence on April 21st. Here is Mudford Zakaria Mwandenga, chairperson of the ACHPR's Working Group on Social and Economic Rights.
Basically, we are here to brainstorm on issues that relate to business and human rights violations with a view of learning from each other so that we hear from all of us about the best practices, about how we can go about alleviating these human rights violations which take place as a result of the businesses.
In Africa, only Kenya and Uganda are reported to have developed national action plans on the implementation of the UN Guiding Principles on Business and Human Rights. Human rights experts note that related policies or legal framework, when enforced, will help sanitize Africa's business environment to strike a balance between the needs of business and the rights of people to a fair life and environment. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Now, the Gambia Standards Bureau on Tuesday engaged stakeholders in the cement industry to ensure the manufacturing, production and importation of quality cement into the Gambia in line with international standards. More in this report. The event was attended by local cement manufacturers and producers, construction associations and building contractors. The forum provided a platform for stakeholders to discuss challenges in the cement industry and ways to address issues to make quality cement available and affordable for consumers. Asan Gay, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Trade, stressed the need to have all cement-producing companies in the Gambia produce in conformity. This, he adds, will promote production of quality cement in the country.
Based on this, the Ministry considers as a duty to make sure that we support our local industries and also promote their growth and also support them in conformity assessment on the quality of the cement that they produce and make sure that national standards are also met.
Fred Obosam, the technical director for Gassam Cement Factory, believed this will help regulate the sector and improve the quality of cement produced.
For me, this meeting is probably even a meeting too late, because we have been in this industry, in this country for so long, and there seems to be a bit of haphazardness. There are no control. Everybody is bringing anything, doing anything within the industry. So for me, for this, it's excellent that the players can meet and know what we are all going for. Because at the end of the day, it's not for just the industry, but it's for the country. If you don't get a correct cement and we start putting up any structure anyhow, the country loses in the long run. So this is very good, and I want to commend the Gambia Standards Bureau for bringing this meeting to be.
Joanna Sengor, technical manager of Bajam Construction Company, also had this to say about the forum.
I think it's very important for the construction industry as a whole, because this is what we're looking towards, for better standardization and better quality control also. It's very important for the consumer, and I think also for the suppliers also to know what is required of them and what standards they're supposed to meet, and also for us as the consumers, the contractors who are using the most cement here. It's very good for us to know our rights and also how we can go about getting the certification that we require from our suppliers, and I think it will overall help the industry with better practices.
Quality cement is important because it plays an important role in construction. The strength parameters such as durability, load-bearing strength, and resistance to environmental factors such as wind and water depend on the quality of concrete produced by mixing cement. The Gambia Standards Bureau was established in 2010, among other things, to standardize methods, processes, and products both imported and locally produced. In April last year, the government classified cement among essential goods, setting the wholesale price at $285 and the retail price at $305 per bag. It is hoped that this meeting will create an understanding between stakeholders, promote quality cement production, and find ways to solve and regulate unreasonable increases in cement prices across the country. Answane Sonyasi for QTV News. Well, I'm afraid that's all about it for this bulletin, but before we take a leave of you, here's a recap for main headlines. President Barrow on Wednesday presided over the swearing-in of new justices as High Court judges, permanent secretary, and a member of the National Human Rights Commission. The government has commissioned an 8-member task force to investigate the recent rise in fuel and commodity prices and the implications of the Russia-Ukraine war on our economy. The Gambia Revenue Authority, GRA, on Wednesday launched the Taxpayers Charter under the GRA Strategic Plan 2022 to 2024 to deliver quality services to taxpayers. And the network of African human rights institutions and its partners across the African continent are on a 2-day forum to discuss human rights related problems in the business sector and to develop and adopt a resolution addressing them. That is all we have for you in this bulletin. Do join us tomorrow for more news. Until then, on behalf of the entire production team, thanks for watching.